competitive examinations are the test parameters of students' in-depth knowledge and its application, understanding of subject, analytical and time management skill. So they are different than the school examination where securing high percentage is the only objective. Right, so this series of medical entrance galleries successfully addresses to overcome this gap between school and competitive exams. And medical entrance examination is the first step for a student aspiring to become a medical graduate and lead a professional life later on this area. Till today I was just uploading videos on botany topics, so which was most helpful for our BSc students and as well as MSc students. But from today onwards I also upload videos on Neet topics which are most helpful for our PU students, especially for our Neet aspirants. So without wasting time, let's see the Neet questions, repeated questions according to the chapter wise. Yes, let me start with the second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, what would be the number of chromosomes of the alluring cells of a plant with 42 chromosomes in its root tip cells? Option A 63, option B 84, option C 21 and option D 42. Here the answer is option A 63, because the outermost cell layer of the endosperm, which is triploid in condition of seed, is called as alluron layer. Since the cells of alluron layer are triploid, the number of chromosomes would be 63, as root tip cells contains 42 chromosomes, which is diploid in condition. Let's see the next question now. The eyes of the potato tuber are option A flower buds, option C shoot buds, option C axillary buds and option D root buds. Yes, the answer is option C axillary buds. So let me tell you the reason. Tuber is oval or spherical swollen underground modified stem lacking the adventitious root. It possesses a number of spirally arranged depressions called as eyes. So each eye represents node and consists of 1 to 3 axillary buds in axils of small scaly leaves. Next, wind pollination is common in option A lilies, option B grasses, option C orchids and option D legumes. So the answer is option B grasses, because pollination by wind, which is mainly called as anemophily, is more common in abiotic pollinations, so it is quite common in grasses. So the answer is grass. Next, nucellar polyembryony is reported in species of option A Gossypium, option B Triticum, option C Brassica and option D Citrus. So the answer is citrus. See, the occurrence of more than one embryo in seed is called as polyembryony. In citrus and as well as in mango varieties, some of the nucellar cells surrounding the embryo sac starts dividing and they protrude into an embryo sac which develop into an embryos. So in such species, each ovule contains many embryos, which is called as nucellar polyembryony. So next, in which one of the following pollination is autogamous? Option A xenogamy, option B chasmogamy, option C cleistogamy and option E getonogamy. Answer is option C cleistogamy. Look here, bisexual flowers which remain always closed, we call them as cleistogamous, and such condition of flower is called as cleistogamy. In such flowers, the anthers and stigma lie very close to each other. When anther dehiscence in flower buds, pollen grains come in contact with the stigma to affect pollination. So thus we can say that cleistogamous flowers are invariably autogamous. So in a flowering plant, the pollen tube arrives in option A egg, option B an antipodal cell, option C a synergid and option D central cell. Answer is option C a synergid. You know that a typical embryo sac is 7-celled, 8 nucleate. That means it contains 2 synergids, 1 egg, 3 antipodal and 1 central cell. So the synergids are also known as helper cells. They help in distribution of nutrients into the embryo sac with the help of filiform operators, and also which helps in attracting pollen tube towards egg. Next, long ribbon-like pollen grains are seen in Option A, aquatic plants. Option B, wind pollinated grasses. Option C, gymnosperms. And option D, bird pollinated flowers. So answer E is aquatic plants. Here, in most of the water pollinated plants, the pollen grains are long and they're ribbon like. Since they are in water, they must be protected from wetting. So hence they have mucilaginous covering. If the number of chromosomes in the X cell is 8, then what is the number of chromosome in endosperm? Option A 24, option B 8, option C 16, option D 12. Answer is 24. You know that X cell is haploid and endosperm is triploid. But endosperm is formed by the fusion of one male gamete with the two polar nuclei. So therefore, number of chromosomes in endosperm will be 8 into 3 as usual 24. Pericarp is formed of option A endosperm, option D ovary wall, option C tapetum and option D epidermis. Answer is ovary wall. See, with the development of seed, the tissue of the ovary wall is also stimulated to grow. So then it produces pericarp. Let's see the last question of today's session. The ovule attached to the placenta of ovary wall by option E raphe, option B micropyle, option C funicle and option D hilum. Here the answer is option C funicle. See, ovule is the integumented indehiscent megasporangium, so which develops into a small outgrowth from a tissue of placenta, and it attaches to the placenta by a stalk called as funicle. Hence the answer is option C funicle.